Hello, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today, I'm very excited because today I have a knife review of one of, if not my favorite budget knives ever. That's this guy. The CJRB Feldspar. This is the large size. Alright, so I'm super excited about this. Let's jump in and do all of our size comparisons, specs, all that. And actually, we're going to do a lot of size comparisons. We're going to do a lot. We're going to compare this guy to everything. So first, we'll just give you the specs. So the overall length on this guy is about 8.1 inches. Blade length, 3.5. The small one has a 3-inch blade length, I believe. So, yeah. There we go. All right, let's get right into some size comparisons. So let's start off with our usuals. Here's the Rat Model 1 and the Model 2. No, well, whoops, I got that backwards. 1, 2. So the Feldspar fits kind of right between those two, kind of an intermediate size when it comes to the Rats. Next, let's compare it here to the Spyderco PM2 and the Benchmade Bug Out. So bigger than the Bug Out, almost exactly the same size as the PM2. Just about. Okay. Next up, let's get it against the Civivi Praxis. More blue knives. I love blue knives. Here's the Cold Steel 8015. In my opinion, this guy's biggest competitor is the Praxis. I've heard people say it's the Civivi Elementum. I think it's the Praxis. I think this knife and the Elementum are actually pretty different. And let's just go crazy with size comparisons. Let's see. Here's another CJRB. This is the Krag, and actually, dang it, I don't have my other favorite CJRB with me right now, which would be the Gobi. But there's the Krag. Here's another blue Civivi. This is the Fracture. And let's compare it against my favorite Civivis. There's the Statira. Here's the Corsair. My last Civivi that I'm going to compare it to, here's the Dogma. Let's compare it against, oh heck, I got on the table. We'll compare against the Tucson TS49. About the same size there. And I will do two more. Here is the Hogue Deca. Love my blue knives. And here is the Sincut Scepter. Alright, there we go. So, as I've already said, this is my favorite budget knife ever. I love this knife a lot. Oh man, just look at that. You got D2 blade, contour G10 handles, inset liners. I could just gush about this guy all day. So before I do that, let's go ahead and go cut some cardboard. Alright. Let's cut some cardboard. So there are a couple things, in my opinion, that make the CJRB Feldspar a great cutter. For one, flat ground blade. It's pretty thin behind the edge. Two, the blade shape is really nice. This is D2 steel. So this knife is pretty slicey, but what makes it a great cutter is the handle. Contour G10, the inset liners, it's very comfortable. You can choke up into this little choil, at least I can. Some people might not be able to get their finger in there, but this knife is very comfortable no matter how you hold it. And to me, I feel like I know exactly where the edge is all the time as I'm using it. So I really, really like that. Oh man. Great cutter. You know, that's one good thing about 2020, you know. With everyone having to be home, you had to order a lot of stuff in. Plenty of boxes to test knives with. Alright, I could do that all day, but let's go take a closer look at this guy. Alright, so how does a CJRB Feldspar carry? Really, really good. The clip is really good clip. It's recessed into the scale. These screws are not recessed. If they were, it'd be just about perfect. But I have said before, I prefer this over having flat screws and a clip that's on top of the scale. It just, for me, I just like that better. It keeps the clip from getting a wiggle. Goes in and out of the pocket very, very nicely. Alright, action. This is a thumb stud knife running on bearings. And it's very, I mean, once yours breaks in, it's very, very smooth. If you're a person that doesn't like thumb stud knives, you know, thumb stud only knives, get one of these. It will probably change your mind. The action on this is so satisfying. This is a fantastic action. The detent is dialed in just right. And in my opinion, this is probably, yeah, I'm going to say this is the smoothest thumb stud opener I've ever had. It's that smooth. It's that good. Very, very nice. The finish on the blade, as you can see, it's kind of this reflective stonewash type of finish. I think that looks great. This little pop of color here on the pivot collar is awesome. I think that's aluminum. Not sure. The handles, I think, look really, really good. This is their blue-gray color. I've said before, I usually get the, the blue knife. But there's a Knife Center exclusive Feldspar that's on its way to me because that is just gorgeous. It's prettier than this. So when I get that, I'll definitely be making another video, but this is just, man, this is good. Anyways, let's cut some more cardboard. This is a knife that I think is best as a general EDC. You know, this knife is plenty suitable for just, you know, your everyday tasks, but it's also, in my opinion, big enough to handle some other things. The tip is fairly dainty. It's a pretty thin tip, but even that being said, I think this knife can handle a variety of tasks. One of the best things about being a thumb stud only knife is you don't have a flipper tab. So the carry profile on this guy is very uniform, very thin, and I think that's kind of cool. I think that's something a lot of people, you know, kind of look for in a knife. I believe Nick Shabazz calls it a pocket pecker. So there's no pocket pecker here. You don't have to worry about that. The only things I usually carry in my knife pocket is a knife, a pencil, and a Sharpie pin. So it doesn't bother me that much. But if that's something that you care about, you'll appreciate that there's no pocket pecker on this guy. So very, very nice. Actually, I think I may have to sharpen this guy up soon. I haven't sharpened him in a while. The D2 that CJRB uses, by the way, I think is very, very good. They do just fine with it. So, no complaints there. Alright, let's go back to the table and let's talk about what I do and don't like about this guy. The do part of that video is going to be pretty long. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, the CJRB Feldspar. What do I like about this knife? Honestly, just about everything. And I know I'm not the only person with that opinion. There's a lot of people that really like this knife. This is a good knife. I mean, when a knife is made well, when a company comes out with a good knife, people like it. I mean, mind blown. People like it. I mean, I know the Knife Beater, great YouTube channel. This is one of his favorite knives too, and I completely agree. In fact, he's part of the reason that I decided to go ahead and get one. Oh man. Anyways, what do I like about this guy? Well, I think the size is really, really good. I love the blade shape. You know, you can do your little pokey, stabby tasks. You have plenty of belly for slicing. You have this little choil here. The thumb stud is pretty much out of the way of the slicing path, which is always nice. You have great access to the liner. Fantastic, just fantastic action. The thumb studs, very comfortable. Yeah, you can reverse flick it. The shape of the handle, I think, is very, very good. It's super comfortable. This knife just, so comfortable in the hand. The Contour G10 is very, very nice. I really do like CJRB's G10. I don't know, I just think that the, look at the little pattern. You can see the fibers, you can see the texture of the G10. I like that a lot, as opposed to, like, Civivi's G10, which, I don't know, I don't think looks as good. Of course, I say that, and I'm getting the Micarta one from Knife Center here pretty soon, which might kick this guy out of my pocket, unfortunately. We'll see. I think the clip is great. It carries really, really well. There's a spot for lefties. Some people complain about these cutouts. I don't really mind them. Would a little metal plate in there be nice? I mean, maybe, but I don't mind it. Riding on the blade, oops, there's not so much of it, and I don't really mind it. I think it looks great, and I think this knife kind of stands out in a crowd as being, a ball-bearing, thumb-opening only knife, and I think that's really, really cool. Another thing I really like about this knife, and this is this is just due to me personally, but I love the name, the Feldspar. I'm a geologist. That's what I'm studying right now, and so, I mean, obviously, I've got to like a knife called the Feldspar. It's a type of rock, in case you didn't know. One of the most common on Earth, actually. So, what else was I going to say about this guy? One thing I like about this knife is the simplicity. This is a D2 and G10 budget liner lock knife, and I mean, there's a lot of those, but I do think that it's done very, very nicely, especially these the recessed liners. It makes the knife very comfortable, makes it look very classy, and I think the details are here in this guy. I think the details are here all day long. I think this is a very pretty knife. I think this is a knife that's very functional. I think it's executed really well. And the best thing is it costs 35 bucks. Well, I guess between 35 and 37 depending on where you get it, but still, this is fantastic. And especially considering, I think CJRB is really competing a lot with, Civivi. This Civivi knife is 42 bucks, which, I mean, granted, that's, not a whole lot more than 35, but still, I mean, $42 is about where Civivi start. And then you've got stuff like the Odium. Where is my Odium? I don't have it here right now. Which starts about 52 bucks. And, the Elementum starts at 52. I think this knife is very, very competitive in that regard, that it's quite a bit cheaper, but it holds its own. So let's talk about what I don't like. Okay, so what is there to not like about the CJRB Feldspar? I mean, one could argue that the blade being 3.5 inches, crosses the 3-inch legal line in a lot of places, but they make a 3-inch version too. So if that's a concern for you, go with a 3-inch version. I mean, I guess, you could complain about T6 hardware, T8 pivot, but that's kind of a, par for the course with budget knives. And let's be honest, a lot of high-end knives too. So, I'm honestly finding it hard to come up with some things that are negative about this guy. I've been using him for quite a while, and he's come slightly, just ever so slightly off center. Whoops. But that's probably something I could fix, in 5 minutes. There's not a lot to complain about. There really isn't. And so, my final conclusions on this guy are, this is a great knife. This is a great knife. And, if you're on the fence about buying one, go ahead and get one. They're cheap. They're made well. They're dependable. I've had this guy here for almost, I was going to say about 7 months. I think it's closer to about 6 months. About half a year. And I love it. It's a great knife. It's a great knife. And there's so many reasons to love it. It's, useful. It's pretty low profile. Looks good. Performs well. It's made well. I mean, this is one of my favorite knives ever. Not even just in the budget category. My all-time favorite knife, my favorite knife ever that I own, is my Cold Steel 8015. But this guy is a runner-up. It really is. I like this knife that much. And of course, there's a whole geology nerd aspect. I walk into a class where, everyone's learning about tectosilicate minerals, and, you're learning about intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks and all this stuff, and then, you pull this out of your pocket like, oh, well, I'm carrying a knife called the Feldspar. I guess if you're not a geology person, that's not as funny. But for me, it's fun. And I like this knife a lot. I carry it, I mean, probably once a week on average. I like to carry other stuff. I carry a bunch of different things just to, review, or just to, try out something different, just to experience different things. But this guy, honestly, slips in my pocket a lot. And I'm not mad about that at all. So, I think that's about all I have to say about this. This is a fantastic knife, and maybe even a perfect budget knife. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.